Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the Caribbean. It is Friday evening, January 13th, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Also feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so let us take a look at the significant feature map across the Atlantic for this evening. You can still see that we have that high pressure ridge across the northeastern section of North Atlantic dominating the region, sending a lot of easterly winds from east to west across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can also see two cold fronts, one that is situated right there off the east coast of the United States, affecting portions of Florida, portions of Cuba, and maybe even Central America at this time. And we can also see another cold front stretching all the way from northern section of North Atlantic all the way down to the north of the main development region, and it has induced a trough to the north of the eastern Caribbean as well. We can also see some lines associated with another trough across portions of the Turks and Caicos, and some lines associated with another trough to the east of the Caribbean. And if you actually take a look at the satellite images before the sun went down, we can see the clouds that are coming in from east to west, all because of that high pressure ridge. We can see the lines of clouds associated with that cold front affecting portions of Central America, Mexico, portions of Cuba, portions of Florida and the Bahamas, as well as off the east coast of the United States. We can also see that second cold front stretching all the way from northern section of North Atlantic and the trough that is induced to the north of the eastern Caribbean. And we can also see the clouds associated with that next trough that is now lifting to the north of the Turks and Caicos at this time, as well as the other trough to the east of the Caribbean that is destined to bring some amount of rainfall, if not already started, to sections of the Leeward and the Windward Islands tonight into tomorrow. We'll talk about that later on. Let's talk about what was forecasted yesterday for Jamaica for today. It was stated that we would have received some amount of rainfall on Friday afternoon according to yesterday's video, especially with the bias being across northern Jamaica. What ended up happening, a post was made at 3:41 p.m. highlighting a buildup of clouds across portions of where? Especially northern Jamaica as well as inland areas of some southern parishes. And if we actually take a look at the satellite images before the sun went down, we saw that yes, we had a buildup of clouds, especially across sections of Hanover, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, as well as inland areas of some southern parishes. So inland areas of Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston and St. Andrew got in on some of that. And if we actually take a look at the infrared satellite images, we can see that yes, we indeed got some sparkling white dots in there as well. So we got some amount of lightning flashes across portions of inland areas of central parishes as well. And if we actually take a look at the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this actually shows all the rainfall that we got for the past 12 to 24 hours. So especially northern parishes is what we see, is where we see majority of the rainfall for today. And we can also see some of the rainfall across portions of inland areas of some southern parishes. Alright, so if we take a look at the temperatures for tonight, we can see that we have 23 degrees Celsius in Morat Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Ocho Rios, and 20 degrees Celsius in Falmouth. And if you actually take a closer look at where the winds are coming from, it's coming more from the northwest. That's all because of the cold front, and it's going to be even more robust tomorrow, because the cold front is right there across portions of northwestern Caribbean, just as seen on the significant feature map, and it is going to be sending a lot of cool air into the Caribbean region. This map is showing 18Z tomorrow. When we calculate that, that's 1 p.m. on Saturday. We can see all of those blues and greens that represent 1 to up to 5 degrees Celsius below normal. So we can see that Jamaica has started to be embedded in some of the blues by 1 p.m. on Saturday. So that's about 1 degree Celsius below average. So we usually have about 86 degrees Fahrenheit in the month of January. That's 30 degrees Celsius. So more than likely by 1 p.m. tomorrow we should be in the 29 degrees Celsius range, and it should be getting cooler as the night progresses into Sunday. Alright, so let us talk about the Saharan air layer map. We can see a lot of dry air associated with that cold front across portions of the Gulf of Mexico as well as the northeastern Caribbean. We can see some amount of blues associated with some moisture. That's all due to the trough that's affecting portions of the Turks and Caicos as well. If you actually take a look at the actual Saharan dust map for tomorrow, this is 2 p.m. on Saturday, we can see where a majority of the browns are across portions of the main development region, west of Africa, portions of Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, and French Guyana. Alright, so let's just talk about the wind forecast for tomorrow. Both the Euro and the GFS are showing some amount of northerly, if not northwesterly winds across the island for tomorrow. This map is showing 12 p.m. tomorrow. Both the Euro and the GFS showing some amount of northerly winds going from anywhere from 10 to up to 20 knots. So the north coast is going to be receiving majority of the winds as well as most of the choppy seas as well. And where does all of that air pile up? We can see most of the blues are across portions of southern and southeastern Jamaica. So if there is a chance of afternoon convection in the afternoon hours, more than likely southern and eastern Jamaica should be getting in on some of that. Either way, the clouds associated with that cold front, as seen on the first images, we could see some amount of lines of cloud. More than likely that line of clouds is going to be reaching Jamaica very much shortly due to all of that northerly to northwesterly wind, and more than likely western Jamaica will be getting in on some of that first. Alright, so if we look at the wind shear map, we can see that we're going to be receiving more of a westerly, if not west-southwesterly wind shear across the island. So if there is some amount of afternoon convection, more than likely it's going to be biased towards inland areas of some southern parishes as well as sections of some northern parishes. If we actually take a look at the precipitation map for Saturday, most of the blues that we see on the Euro come in at about 3 p.m. or maybe a little before or after that. See some of the blues associated with maybe more than likely the clouds of the cold front across portions of western Jamaica, Hanover, St. James. We can see some blues across portions of southeastern Jamaica on the Euro. What does the GFS show? Not much in the way of blues across portions of southeastern Jamaica, but the consensus is the same place that the Euro has it across portions of western and northwestern Jamaica. So the clouds associated with that line that has to do with the cold front, line of clouds, more than likely will be making its way across the island by that time. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's talk about the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we saw some amount of cloud cover across portions of the Turks and Caicos. We can also see some amount of cloud cover to the east of the Caribbean associated with a trough. And if we actually take a look at the Doppler radar images, let's bring this up quickly. Alright, so the Doppler radar images actually show the actual rainfall across the island or across an area, as opposed to satellite images that show cloud cover. So if we actually load up the Doppler radar images, we can see that yes, we have some amount of rainfall to the east of the Caribbean associated with that trough, coming into sections of Dominica and Guadeloupe at this time, portions of St. John's as well. Some amount of rainfall to the north of Puerto Rico as well. And if we actually take a look at the Barbados radar, we can see a lot of rainfall to the north and east of there associated with that trough. So sections of that island should be getting in on some of that rainfall tonight, if not tomorrow. We can also see some rainfall to the west of Barbados as well, across sections of Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, sections of Tobago as well, getting in on some of that rainfall. If we also look at the wider view, we can see some amount of greens associated with some rainfall across portions of Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, some of the rainfall offshore coming into sections of Honduras as well. Alright, so let us talk about the temperature forecast for the Caribbean tomorrow. So more than likely, majority of the temperatures are going to be dropping for a section of the Western Caribbean, so Mexico, Belize, Honduras, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, getting in on some of that cooler air on Saturday. The rest of the Caribbean will be receiving average, if not above average temperatures. And why is that? There's going to be more of an easterly to southeasterly flow associated with that high pressure ridge. So all of that air coming in from the southeast, if the air was coming more from the north or the northwest, more than likely it would be associated with that cold front, but it's not the cold front's time as yet across portions of the eastern Caribbean. Alright, let us also talk Saharan dust forecast for the eastern Caribbean. We can see that most of the Saharan dust will be across portions of Venezuela, portions of French Guyana, as well as portions of Suriname. Not so much for the Windward and Leeward Islands, so they are in the clear. This map is showing 2 p.m. on Saturday. As it relates to rainfall though, in the first map we could already see that there was a lot of rainfall out to sea that was affecting portions of the Turks and Caicos associated with that trough, as well as that cold front. So that rainfall that is being seen right there to the north of Hispaniola, as well as across sections of Hispaniola, that is all associated with that trough, and it is showing all the rainfall that's expected from now, that's already falling, up until 10 p.m. on Saturday. Up to 1 inch of rainfall is expected, and both the Euro and the GFS are in consensus with that. There's also some amount of rainfall that's expected to come in with that trough from the eastern Caribbean, and we can see consensus on that for both maps, showing rainfall up to at least 0.5 of an inch of rainfall across portions of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, and St. Lucia as well. If we actually scroll down, we can see some amount of rainfall, up to 1 inch, if not up to a half an inch of rainfall across portions of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, portions of Honduras as well, and both maps are in consensus with that. If you actually take a look at the western sections of the basin, portions of southern Belize, eastern Belize, sections of Guatemala, Honduras, and sections of Mexico are predicted to receive up to 1 inch, if not 2 inches of rainfall on the Euro. The GFS is showing something similar, more than likely up to 1 inch of rainfall for these very same spots. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.